You like to laugh, don't you? Brother, that's the best reason I can think of to listen to the Whiskey 7 Project. Because it is so stupid. Don't you crack up at all those videos of people doing dumb stuff? Well, the Whiskey 7 Project's kind of like that. But instead of watching it, you listen to me, Steve, and other crazy people tell stories about insane adventures we've had. And we drink while we do it. It's like Seinfeld, with whiskey. Hey, I'm Howard Dodge, but friends call me Hodo, and I want to invite you to join us on the Whiskey 7 Project. Look, I know that listening isn't your strong suit, but seriously, man, give it a shot. I guarantee you'll crack up. Come on, I know you want to. Listen to the Whiskey 7 Project.
I'm already going to poop later with the coffee. Add the prunes into this situation. Like, my day is ruined.
Yeah.
This is Let's Catch Up. I'm Jay.
And I'm Kay.
And on this week's episode, we are covering a true crime case. And as per the course, you are taking the lead on this one.
I am.
So walk us through what are the rules of the true crime episode kind of thing.
Well, I don't think there's rules.
There are. So you come up with a case.
Yes.
That has a twist or something like that, and you present it, and we just kind of talk it through.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
I was thinking like, okay, well, I don't have rules for this, but yeah.
So once again, you claimed up on me.
I'm sorry. You threw me off with rules because I don't have any rules.
The listeners at home just know that anytime that a random question at Caitlin here, she just kind of goes,
because I'm not expecting it.
and
so
she just doesn't say anything.
I don't do well on
She
the
backs
spot.
up from the mic, and she just gets all scared, and so that's what just happened.
You would think by now I'd gotten over that, but...
Well, let's get some business out of the way.
Okay.
Real quick, before we get into this, I know this is probably going to be a longer episode, but... Yeah, but that's okay. Today is our 51st episode.
Yes. Now, are we still counting them like that? Because this is...
Of course, yeah.
Okay, this is season... Well,
this is season 2.
Season 2.
Yep, we got new theme music.
Yeah.
But still, we're 51. That means the next episode, that's a full calendar year.
Yeah.
So a year into it.
My nerves should not be this shot right now.
I agree.
But here we are.
But you've already made significant advances, and I got to applaud you on that, so let me do that.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Everybody give Caitlin a round of applause. And let's get into some dark, dingy nonsense that you found on the internet.
Yeah. Talk about nonsense. And I don't know if I said this on the last one, but if I did, it was a severe understatement because this one, holy cow, it is
it goes everywhere.
Freaking roller coaster.
So those of you that don't know, and nobody would know because you're listening and not watching us at home. Well, like if they were observing us with cameras in the house, then
don't do that.
Yeah, then they would know that you've been working on this. We were supposed to record last night.
Yeah.
Instead, we're recording tonight.
Because this case took me
all night.
Forever.
Yeah. I don't think you got done till close to 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if this is inappropriate to say, but I felt like I was killed at the end of it.
Nothing's off the table for here. So
yeah.
So let's get into it. What is the victim's name here?
Not the victim.
What's the case? Like,
yeah, because there's several victims.
Okay, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the case of Nannie Doss, the Giggling Nanny. Or Granny, I'm sorry. Giggling Granny.
The Giggling Granny?
Yes. But her name is Nanny, so I get confused. So I'm sorry, that might happen a time or two.
Wait, so she's a grandma?
Yes.
And she's a nanny?
Her name is Nanny.
Her name is Nanny.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I was confused. I was like, well,
but that's how it happens. So
that's just free childcare at that point.
No, her name is Nanny.
She's a nanny. No, her name is Nanny, and she's a granny.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what's the case again? Start from the top. Sorry, I didn't mean to take you off course there.
Well, like I said, I can't explain the case. I mean, that's what I'm about to do, but I can't put it in a nutshell because there are several victims.
Okay. All right. Nanny the Granny.
Nanny, the Giggling Granny.
Nanny the Giggling Granny. That's what I was looking for. All right. Let's jump right in it.
So I'm going to take you back just very briefly to give you a little bit of her upbringing. Okay. So Nanny was born in 1905 in Blue Mountain, Alabama, to an abusive father and a loving, kind mother who often took a blind eye to the actions of her father.
Okay.
Basically. Okay. So you can tell by that year. This is
Yeah.
quite an old case.
It is.
But it's so crazy. I had to bring this one up today.
You had to feature it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind.
It's not a recent one.
That's fine.
So you're going to get that from me from time to time.
That's fine.
I'm going to pick any year
Yep.
that I want to. Okay.
Let's go with it.
I had to get that out of the way.
Let's get it out of the way. Moving on.
All right. So she was born in 1905. All right, at the age of 7, she had a head injury while riding a train.
Okay.
The train suddenly stopped, and she hit her head on the front of the seat in front of her, which had a metal backing.
Okay.
So she kind of had a little mild brain injury there. Okay. That is important, so take note of that. Okay.
Took note.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. In her teenage years, she was obsessed with romance magazines, especially the Lonely Hearts columns. She spent all of her time searching for glamour and romance.
Okay.
Okay.
So
these are all...
she's a glammy nanny granny.
Oh, my God. Glammy? Is that what the first word you said?
Yeah, glammy.
Okay. All right. So those were, like I said, 3 key points that are going to be important for the whole case.
Okay.
All right. In 1921, at the age of 16, she went to work at the Linen Thread Company where she met Charlie Braggs.
Okay.
Within 4 months, they were married and living together, along with Charlie's mother, who shared the same abusive tendencies as Nanny's father.
Got it. And did he brag about that at all?
So, no. Between 1921 and 1927, the couple had 4 children, but during this time, their marriage started to fail.
What were the children's names? Do you have that?
I have some of them, and that's going to be important here shortly.
Okay. All right.
But I
cool.
don't have all of them.
Okay. All right. So she killed some of the children.
How do you know?
Well, that's the only reason you'd have in the notes, right?
Well, dang.
Well, that's what I do. I start solving the case before you even get it started. So,
I know.
Yeah, good. There we go.
Can you wait a second?
Spoiler alert, she kills children.
I was like, what in the world?
I'm assuming 3.
Okay, well, you'll have to find out.
Okay.
It's not right. Okay.
So 2.
See, you throw me off on these things, too. All right, so in 1927, 2 of their children died mysteriously after eating breakfast.
Yeah.
Their deaths were attributed to food poisoning.
Right.
Okay, that's what was assumed at that time.
Yeah, and it was poisoned food.
You know this case.
I do not.
Oh.
Never heard this case in my life. But, food poisoning. And, I mean, if I ever eat anything and die afterwards, just know Caitlin killed me. She poisoned me.
I learned a lot from this case here.
I mean, here's an interesting point about true crime when it comes to, female killers and stuff like that. Typically, it's poisoning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because we can't come up with anything else?
I mean...
Is that what it is?
There's so many ways to kill somebody, and y'all are like, you know what? Let me do the passive-aggressive way.
Spike the food and drink.
Let me just do it passive-aggressively. That way, he doesn't think that I'm a bad person all the way to the end. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. All right, so that happened in 1927. In 1928, Charlie divorced Nanny, and he left the home with their eldest daughter, Melvina. Melvina or Melvina? Melvina? That's what I'm going to go with.
Man, that's our next kid name.
No, it's not.
Melvina.
All right, so he left with their eldest daughter, Melvina, leaving the newborn Florine home with Nanny and his mother.
Bad decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, just a year later, in 1929, Nanny married her second husband, Frank Harrelson.
Frank
Harrelson. Frank Harrelson. I think I messed it up, so I apologize.
No, that's good. That's good.
All right, Frank was an abusive alcoholic from Jacksonville.
Rock on.
The two met through a
Is that Jacksonville, Florida?
Yes.
Of course.
And I have that written down here, and I didn't read it.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
If you ever want to get into an abusive relationship with an aggressive alcoholic, move to Jacksonville, Florida. Sorry if any of our listeners are from Jacksonville, but it's time to move.
We're notorious for getting rid of listeners.
I am. You aren't.
At one point we could have had a lot, but
I start talking.
No, I've gotten rid of quite a few too, I think.
Sorry, keep going.
No, that's okay. Nanny met Frank through a Lonely Hearts column.
Of course.
She was still reading those all from her teenage years up until now.
She's addicted.
She is, yes. All right, so we're going to fast forward quite a bit to the 1940s.
Okay.
Nanny's eldest daughter, Melvina, married and had a boy. 2 years later, she delivered a healthy baby girl. While Melvina and her husband slept in the hospital room.
Wait, she married a boy. Is that what you said?
She married and had a boy.
And then had a girl?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It was the wording was confusing.
Now I'm sorry. But the reason why I searched, and I have all of my sources, I searched 5 different articles to try and get exact dates. Well,
right.
Years.
Well, I mean,
at this point, years. I couldn't even get exact years.
Anytime you go through like, any of the older cases like that, it's going to be like that. Like if you even try to do that, like with the really famous axe murders in Louisiana, like you don't even know if they're even connected because it could be from 1920 or it could be from 1925. Right. Who knows?
Right.
So you kind of run into that. So please continue.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. That, like I said, if I was given a year, I wanted to incorporate it, but some of it is maybe a little bit off. I don't have all of the years in, I don't want to say in order, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It gets confusing because, time, right?
Right.
And this is a really good point. We always say these on these like true crime podcasts that we do. Look, we don't do this for a living.
Right. Exactly.
We don't have researchers, we're a small podcast. So when it comes to right down to it, some of the facts may not be absolutely correct. And that's, it's not us trying to do a disservice or try to do anything or anything like that. It's simply we're doing the best with what we have. And if you have any amendments to this, please email us or let us know on social media, and that'll be at the end of the episode. But once again, if you're into true crime and this is your case and you are passionate about it, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to share the timeline that we have with you, and we would make an amendment later on down. So we got that business out of the way. Okay.
So just to kind of recap, somewhere in the early 1940s, Melvina got married and she had a baby boy. Okay. So I believe it was around 1942, to be honest. But after reading several articles, that's what I kind of gathered. So 2 years later, she delivered a baby girl. Okay. While Melvina and her husband slept in the hospital room, Nanny rocked the baby. Within an hour, the newborn had passed. Melvina thought that she saw her mother stab the baby with a stick pin, but she was on several medications after just having a baby. She was sleep deprived, so she wasn't quite sure if that's what she saw.
What did the doctors say?
Well, we don't know. So Melvina told other family members, but nobody confronted Nanny. Nobody talked about it. Nobody did anything about it. So when I say I don't know, they might not have even told the doctor or she might not even told the doctor that's what happened. And this was, 1940s.
Did they not look and go, oh, there's a stab wound in the baby? Or did they look and go, oh, it's just another dead baby?
I don't know how they covered it up. I don't know how. I don't know. That part is missing.
Or maybe they did notice that it was a stab wound and basically like she didn't say anything that, that her mom stabbed.
Right. So it only mentions that she told family members, but it doesn't mention anything about the doctor.
Right.
Reports of what the cause of death was. Nothing like that. I couldn't find a single thing on that part.
If you guys have any information on that, yes. I would like to know more information about that situation. So, that's... Let me just say, even if you're on drugs and you're not sleeping because you just had a newborn baby and you see someone stab the baby and the baby is dead the next day, report that nonsense. Because guess what? You got a murderer.
Well, the baby passed within an hour. That would not happen with me.
Yeah.
With my newborn baby. But it gets worse. Because Melvina, 6 months later, she permanently leaves her 2-year-old son with Nanny. And nobody knows where she goes. She leaves him with Nanny. She's gone. She's no longer a mother, basically, at this point.
Maybe Nanny just took the baby.
It didn't seem that way in what I researched.
This was in the 40s, right?
Yes.
I don't suspect that there's a whole lot of like court cases with custody battles in the 40s.
Well,
so they're probably just like sitting there and just shuffling babies along because
shuffling babies along.
Well, I mean, like in the 40s, I mean, that was during the Depression.
Yeah.
So maybe they weren't making a whole lot of money and they couldn't afford to keep the child.
That's true. That's true.
And so send it out to grandma's house, and that's one less mouth to feed. You never know. It depends on the 40s, on when all that kind of happened. But I know a lot of families did that back then was, they would go, okay, we can't afford to keep feeding 5 kids.
That's so heartbreaking. I mean, especially like when she knew or thought that she knew that her mother had already killed her other child.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision on her part.
Yeah. So I would love to know more about that.
Yeah.
Tried to find it. Couldn't find it. But if anybody does know or they have another article, send it our way.
Yeah, because I would like...
There's a lot of that in here where there's a few different places where I'm like, I would love to know more.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more information about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sadly, not long after, the baby boy's name was Robert, by the way. Not sure if I mentioned that. But not long after Robert was left in Nanny's care, he suddenly passed away from suffocation, is what it was turned out, what it was said to be.
Okay.
Okay.
This crime back in the day
Yeah.
is a lot different than crime today.
Oh, a lot different.
Because back then it was like if you weren't holding the knife that was bloody and the person was laying down on the ground being stabbed, like suffering from a stab wound, chances of you getting caught were pretty slim to none. Unless someone specifically saw you and be like, I just had beers with that guy just the other day. Like it was a lot different.
A lot different.
So back then it was like just they probably didn't even keep really all that good of records of connections of like dead bodies piling up around one person.
Right. Well, and if it seemed likely, like, oh, they ate something.
Yeah.
They just ate something. Like, it probably made them sick.
Food poisoning.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it's weird to me, like, to think back then because it's like, if you wanted to be a serial killer, if that was like your passion, you were passionate about, stabby people.
Yeah.
That was the time to do it. Was back then. Your time has passed at this point. Like, if you want to be a serial killer now, like, you got to be next level because the cops are coming for you. They're going to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, there's so much technology. I mean,
back then it was like
almost impossible
just
now.
100% eyewitnesses. If you didn't have any eyewitnesses, it was like, well, I guess that person died. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next crime.
Right. And then at this time, Nanny was married, but he was an alcoholic, so he probably didn't really even know what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know how extensive his alcoholism was.
If it's mentioned in the history books as he's an alcoholic, I would assume that it's pretty bad.
It's probably safe to assume.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay. Several months after his death, Nanny collected $500 from the life insurance policy that she had on him. When she took custody, she took out a life insurance policy.
Of course she did.
Yeah. But at this point, at this point in the story, that's the only life insurance policy that we know that she collected. So she must not have had one on her other children. But
well, it doesn't necessarily mean that at all because, I mean, the records are not very good from back then.
That's why I said known.
Right.
The only known insurance policy that she collected on.
But I mean,
at this point.
That could have been her just job,
Yeah.
Take out an insurance policy, kill someone, cash out the insurance policy. Hey.
Right.
Now we just got to find another baby.
Yeah. Okay.
God, sorry. It's just.
No, that's okay. All right, let's keep going. So in 1945, after 16 years, Nanny decided to divorce Frank. He came home drunk after a night out with his friends, and he forced her to have sexual intercourse. And she said, enough is enough. And she decided she wanted to divorce him.
Okay. It's probably way better that she divorced him rather than... He got off pretty easy, if we're being honest.
We'll see.
Oh, okay.
The very next day, Nanny fled the state and ended up in North Carolina. Frank died less than a week later, and it was assumed to be food poisoning, and Nanny also collected life insurance money from him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think it would be interesting to find out like where the accounts of him being an alcoholic and everything come from. Because if it's coming from her, that really can't be trusted, right? Because of course she would lie about that.
Yeah. Well, the way that he died, because she left town,
Mm-hmm.
but before she left,
She poisoned his liquor.
yes, his moonshine.
Okay, so yeah, he was an
I was
alcoholic.
getting there. I was going to let you have your little moment, your little question, but yeah, no, she spiked his moonshine.
I mean,
But it took him about a week to get to it, but
it may. I mean that's true.
but depending on how many he had, because if he
But
had several jars,
here's the other problem with that. Okay, this is just where my mind kind of goes throughout the story. Is like, punching holes, trying to find the angles and everything. Moonshine back in the day is not like you go to the liquor store and you get moonshine today.
yeah,
Here in the U.S., you can go to the liquor store and just get moonshine.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, I mean, that was like meth.
yeah,
Today,
Yeah.
it was questionable.
right,
If your moonshine was good, it was in like restaurants and speakeasies and stuff like that.
right.
Your moonshine was bad, you were selling on the street corner.
So again, they were like, "This guy's a drunk. He
Yeah,
drinks
he's
some bad moonshine."
Yeah, he's got some moonshine, and I mean, it could also be that she's not at fault for that too.
Yeah, but she poisoned it.
Maybe, but maybe not. You don't know. Maybe he got some bad moonshine and drank it and then died a couple weeks later. I mean, it could just be, she could be the victim here. The victim of circumstance.
Okay, I'm not buying it, but okay.
I mean, moonshine was sketchy back then.
Yeah, but she also poisoned it.
How do you know that?
It was said.
Oh, okay. All right. Moving on. It was said.
It was.
It was foretold.
All right.
All right.
Once she made it to North Carolina, Nanny submitted another Lonely Hearts advertisement in the paper. A man by the name of Arlie Lanning quickly responded, and the two were married within 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She needed another payday.
We'll see.
Okay.
Nanny led the public life of a respectable married woman and became an active member of the local Methodist church.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Arlie was frequenting town prostitutes and drinking heavily. Okay, so she kind of cleaned up a little bit and was like, I'm going to go to the church. I'm going to be a big part of the town. And then she's got another lousy husband.
Well, she's picking up husbands and marrying them after 2 days of finding them in the classified ads on Craigslist.
On Craigslist.
I mean...
Again, I'm not saying she was going to find like a great man, but...
She found a man.
Yeah.
Just, forewarn that, if you're picking up people from like Craigslist and like Facebook Marketplace, chances are not good quality.
Yeah, don't do that.
Think of it in terms of like a used car, right?
Yeah.
So you want to, you got to get to point A to point B, right?
Right.
You don't have a whole lot of money, so you go on Craigslist. You go on Facebook Marketplace. You pick out a good used car and you go, that's how much I can spend. I'm going to buy that. It's not going to run well.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's true.
And you're going to run into issues and it's going to suck. And you may end up like going, holy crap, somebody stole my car and ran it into the lake. Good thing I had full coverage.
That's what Nanny's doing. Okay, moving on once again. So about 5 years later, in 1955, Arlie dies after several days of vomiting, dizziness, and other symptoms. His death was listed as heart failure since he was a heavy drinker, and the flu virus was around in the area at the time.
Okay, so COVID got him.
Not COVID, the flu.
It's totally different.
Since Nanny was such a public figure at that time, all the neighbors liked her, and she was going to church.
She set up a GoFundMe account.
She was met with sympathy, not suspicion.
Right.
Right?
That's the GoFundMe, right?
No,
Okay.
not in 1950.
I know, but I mean, a 1950 GoFundMe is like people just giving you like food and cash and stuff and going, I know you're going through a tough time. Sorry your husband died. Here's $20. And you're like, cool, thank you.
Yeah, but she did tell her friends, he was fine until I fed him some prunes and coffee.
So she missed it.
They're like, oh, you gave him breakfast and what happened?
That's not breakfast.
Well, that's
If
breakfast.
you ever feed me prunes and coffee, I'm going to be like, you are trying to poison me. I have to go to work today.
In 1950,
What are you doing?
that was breakfast.
That is not breakfast. I don't care what.
It's not now. Definitely.
You're going to poop your brains out before you even have to go to work.
Yeah, well, that's what she fed him. So.
And coffee. Prunes and coffee. That's the worst combination. Hands down. I can't think of a worse breakfast.
All right. So, again, Nanny was met with sympathy, not suspicion, even though she told her friends that she gave him prunes and coffee for breakfast and he was fine.
Terrible breakfast.
Since nobody suspected anything of her, they also did not do an autopsy on Arlie.
I hate to keep harping on this, but if there's red flags here. If you give somebody prunes and coffee for breakfast,
that alone is a red flag.
Like first and foremost, you're ruining that person's day. Their day is ruined. They've pooped before they went to work, and then on their way to work, they poop their pants.
If that was a breakfast that you served me, I would go, no thanks, and I would just leave. I would
just take the coffee.
Just take the coffee.
I'd be like,
and go.
I don't want
drink
those.
it and go.
I'm already going to poop later with the coffee. Add the prunes into the situation. Like, my day is ruined.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. Following Arlie's death, Nanny learned that Arlie had willed their house to his sister.
Oh, she had learned. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
What?
No, it's just it's interesting to me that like she didn't know that.
She didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they were married 5 years. It's not like a terribly long time. So,
But still,
yeah,
you should know
know
who gets the house when you die.
Yeah. So he willed it to his sister.
If I die, my sister gets the house.
You don't have a sister. You have 5.
You have that to figure out.
Oh.
There's a treasure map.
Fun. All right. So as soon as she found that out, she quickly packed up her things. And it's important here to note that in all these articles, anytime it said packed up her things, it was always packed up her television. So I don't know
I get that. I pack up my TV.
I guess, is that like a thing? Was that a thing in the 50s? Like, I gotta take my TV?
It's a thing today.
Well, you know what I mean?
You would take your TV if you had to move out of your house,
yeah,
right?
But all it says in all of the articles is she packed up her television. It doesn't say like...
I mean, maybe she was just into like unsolved mysteries or something.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? But still, I mean, I don't know why that's mentioned in the articles at all, because
that's why
if you're getting evicted from your house, what do you take? You take all your things, including, spoiler, the television.
Right. I mentioned it
so
as well
ominous.
because it's odd how they say they don't.
It
say
is odd.
They don't say she packed up her things. I kind of changed it to that, but now that I'm thinking about it, they all said packed up her television. It didn't say packed up her things or took her stuff.
I guess maybe because back then it wasn't really common to have a television.
Maybe.
So maybe it was mentioned specifically because it was like,
yeah,
she's got money.
There had to
she
been
has
a reason.
television. It's like someone nowadays having a, I don't know, I can't think of anything like.
Packed up the VR headset and left.
I mean, that's not expensive. That's $200.
Well,
but,
you know,
I'm trying to think of the air fryer.
That's cheaper than a.
I know,
VR
but everybody,
headset.
I'm telling you, people are passionate about the air fryer. So
There's so many things that we can say now that just sound off.
Yeah.
So back then it was like she packed up her television.
Yeah. And she left the house that she was being evicted from. Seems odd.
All right, so this next part is a little bit gray as far as what happened. So they're kind of a gray area in the story.
So it's not black, it's not white, it's
gray. So I remember this from last night, reading the articles that I read. Cut that out.
Nope. It's staying in.
That when she found out about the house, the articles stated that she drove to the house, but it also said it was their house. So I'm not quite sure. Okay. All of them said that she drove to the house to set it on fire.
The house that she just lost.
That was willed to his sister, yes.
Okay.
But it said it was their house. So that's why I say I'm not quite sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, she drove to the house to set it on fire. She'd already moved out and she took her TV. Got to make sure we know about that.
Yeah,
she took her TV, she left, she moved out, and then she drove back to the house, to her house, to set it on fire.
Well, no. I mean, it says it in a different way. That could be true, but it says she packed up her television, drove to the house, and set it on fire.
Maybe she just wanted to have the comfort of her TV in the car, you know? I mean... Maybe she just really liked her TV and was like, you know what? If I'm going to do some dastardly deeds, I want my TV with me because it's my best friend. That's the only person I haven't killed.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, she was just comforted by the TV, and that's why it was important for the case. So she packed up her TV, she drove to the house, and set it on fire.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Case solved.
So we continue with the gray area just a little bit more into this next
The
part.
last one wasn't in a gray area.
I think
We
so.
figured that out pretty conclusively, I think.
Okay. Not for me, but I'll go with it.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the listeners will too.
All right. So after setting the house on fire, she goes to live with Arlie's mother. Okay, so Arlie is the husband that just died, just so we're all on the same page. So she lives in a neighboring town, so she goes to live with her. A few weeks after she arrives, the insurance check for the house arrives. Before Arlie's sister could get the check, Arlie's mother suddenly passes away, and Nanny illegally cashed the check and left town. This is where I say it's still gray.
This is where they got her caught, isn't it?
No.
No. Okay.
So this is why I say that I feel like this part is still kind of gray, because Arlie's mother passing should not have made it to where Arlie's sister couldn't get the check. But it says that she passed away. Maybe it was just a lot going on and she didn't get the check, and Nanny in the meantime cashed it.
Or maybe, I mean, the guys are drunk, right?
Yeah, he was.
Right? And he's frequenting prostitutes. I'm sure this guy is not on top of all of his business dealings, right?
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
You make a will and you go, you know what? I'm going to leave the house to my sister. She hasn't gotten married yet. Maybe she's living with her mom. And then he never updated the will to go to,
Oh, yeah.
right?
That's true.
So maybe it got sent to the mom.
Yeah.
Mom got the old prune breakfast, and you know, she just got the check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this man doesn't seem like he's on top of his business. He married a woman in 2 days, so
That's true.
I mean,
He's just as crazy.
I mean, I'm not sure if I even want to be married to you.
Take it back.
It's been 10 years.
Take it back. All right. So she gets the money and she's on the move again.
Okay.
So
With her TV.
With her TV. It's there. She's in North Carolina, so she goes back home to Alabama to nurse her sister, Dovey, or Dovey.
Worst nurse ever. Dovey dies. That's the next line, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel so horrible laughing in these. But yes, you just make it funny. Because yes, unfortunately, I was about to say, she dies shortly after Nanny gets there.
Yeah, you don't say. She got the old prune breakfast. Hey, Dovey, you know what helps with the flu? Prunes and coffee. Clean you right out. Trust me. It's worked for 7 of my husbands.
Not 7. So
We're not making light of it.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Death and killing and murder and true crime. We're not making light of it. But
no. But hopefully enough time has passed so we can laugh a little bit at this one.
if we can make 9/11 jokes at this point, why can't we make
I'm not. No. That's too soon.
too soon?
I think it'll always be too soon for that one.
All right, moving on.
All right, we're going to move on a couple of years. We're going to move on a couple of years to 1952.
Okay.
Nanny pays $15 to join the Diamond Circle Club, which was a dating service that was kind of related to the Lonely Hearts column. So now they have a dating service called the Diamond Circle Club.
Yeah. It's like Disney Plus. or what's the YouTube subscription? It's like
YouTube TV?
yeah, or something, but it's like where you don't have to pay for the ads anymore. Like they just send it to you, you know? So you get the Plus subscription.
So she upgraded. She's like, I don't have to look at the paper anymore. I'm going to join this club.
I bet you there's tiers. So it's like first tier is like the Lonely Hearts Club.
Yeah.
Second tier is the Circle Club. Like you're in the circle.
Yeah.
The third tier is like the Diamond Club. But for $15, you can get the Diamond Circle Club.
And that was a lot of money probably for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, $15 back then was
Like a week's
yeah.
check.
I don't know if it
Maybe?
was that much.
I
It
don't
was
know.
in the 50s, right? Or the
Yeah.
60s?
50s.
50s. So, I mean, it probably would have been about $150 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really good with inflation.
Okay. Well, she got lucky at the Diamond Circle Club.
Of course you
And
did.
she found husband number 4.
Because you don't want to keep paying for that subscription, you know? it's It's the reason why so many people met up on like, what was it? What was that big one back in the day? It was like, it was an app and you had to pay.
One that's not around anymore?
Match.com. Yeah.
Okay. Is Match not around anymore?
I don't know. You said that, not me.
Said what?
Nothing. we're moving on. But it's like Match.com. I mean, you get on there and you're like, I don't want to pay this next month. Let me find the true love this month. And then, you end up going on a bunch of questionable dates and you're like, how is half of you in the other room? in all these pictures.
And then you meet Nanny.
Yeah.
All right. Husband number 4, Richard Morton, which I found a little bit funny because it was the last name, same last name as our last true crime.
Oh, yeah.
Episode.
That's true.
Maybe
they're related.
I don't think so, but it stuck out to me.
Maybe in the last one, right?
Yeah.
She is the granddaughter.
Oh, and she's carrying it out.
Well, no, because she died.
She died. Oh, she's the one that died. That's
yes.
right. I can't keep up with my own cases. All right. We got to get back on track.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. We do that well.
Okay. So Richard, he was a handsome, well-to-do, retired salesman. But 2 months in, Nanny was already searching for her next husband in the newspaper.
She didn't pay for the subscription. See?
It's like I got to go old school again.
Yeah. I mean... the guy's living on a pension and he's like, we need to maybe stop paying for the Diamond Hearts Club, or Diamond Circle Club. And then she's like, okay, let me go back to Craigslist.
Well, he wouldn't know. She was doing this behind his back.
Of course, it was free. But if she was paying for the Diamond Circle Club, he'd be like, hey, why are you doing that? And she's like, just keep my options open in case you maybe die questionably. Oh. Okay.
A year later, in January, it says one of the rare times I have a month to go with the year. So just again, throwing it in there. In January 1953.
That's when they started keeping records.
They're like, oh.
Wait, hold on.
Wait a second. We have a little bit more here. We don't know what day. We have the month and the year.
Yeah.
All right, January 1953, Nanny's mother, Lou, came to live with the newlyweds after Nanny's father passed. So that's not related. His passing is not related. Just so.
Of course not.
Yeah, okay. While Nanny was occupied with her mother, Richard began having affairs with other women.
Makes sense.
So she's taking care of her mom, but it was not a long time because she was, Lou was only there for a few days.
Yeah.
And then... You're making me laugh too much in this case. All right, she was there for a few days and started experiencing severe stomach pains and suddenly died.
Prunes.
Maybe. I don't know.
After this episode, we need to make shirts that just say...
Prunes and coffee?
Prunes and coffee breakfast. All right, so the mom dies.
Yes. And speaking of coffee...
Jesus Christ.
3 months later, in April 1953, Richard died after drinking a thermos full of coffee.
Of course. It was spiked with prunes.
She just blended it up.
God.
I'm going to put it all in a
If you're going to put poison in prunes, if you're going to put poison in anything, prunes is probably the worst thing to put it in. Because first of all, it would probably hide the taste of the poison pretty well.
That's probably why she did it.
Probably. And I'm sure back in the day, prunes were, regular.
Yeah, I think they were. I've heard
Nowadays, it's like, when was the last time you had a prune?
It's been a long time.
I think I was in high school last time I had a prune.
But my grandparents eat dried prunes all the time.
Yeah.
So, they do.
What year were they born?
In the 40s.
So,
or 30s, 40s.
Case made there. I mean, back in the day, it was a lot more common. But nowadays, if you want to poison somebody, don't do it in prunes.
Yeah.
You want to do it in let's think. What food would you mask poison in nowadays? Think about it for a second. Curry.
Okay.
Yeah, like a good like
a
good coconut
spicy
curry or something like that, or like wasabi, right?
Yeah.
Wasabi would be good. Barbecue.
No.
Mix it into the barbecue sauce.
Yeah, but that's not
and then coat the. Well, it doesn't have to be spicy.
Well, I mean, spicy.
She was hiding it in prunes.
That's true.
But it just needs to be like an aggressive flavor, right? So,
yeah, that's true.
So how would you kill me?
I wouldn't.
Okay. I just went on record. That's
You were hoping I would say away.
And then I die that way. There was like, she did it.
Yeah. I would not kill you.
Sorry, I got this little throat thing going on tonight, so.
No, that's okay. You got the vid?
No.
The Rona?
No, it's just a little scratchy throat. I think it's from all the aggressive working out I'm doing lately.
Yeah, and the prunes you're eating. Look out.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Soon after he died, Nanny boarded a bus to see her new suitor, Samuel Doss, in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
In June 1953, approximately 2 months after Richard's death, Samuel and Nanny get married.
How long?
2 months after his death.
Jesus.
They get married.
So many dudes making questionable decisions.
And so it's not, I didn't say it in that sentence, but she must have found him whenever she was looking in the paper, before Richard died.
She was trolling Craigslist. Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, found one. Let me hop on
Found
this
another
bus.
one. Let me kill this guy real quick, and then I'll jump on this bus and head out that way. Just send me the check.
Yeah.
I'm on the way to my new husband's house.
Pretty much.
All right.
So Samuel was...
Oklahoma. Go Sooners, right?
Yes.
There you go.
That's true. All right. So Samuel was neither abusive or alcoholic, but Nanny still found fault with him.
Okay.
He didn't allow magazines or television that was not enlightening or educational.
Oh, now we're getting to the root of the problem. Like she's now she can't have TV.
Yeah.
This has been the thing that she's been carrying with her. That's her carry-on. Yeah. She's jumping on the Greyhound and be like, I'm taking my TV. And then he's like, wait, hold on. What's that? Oh, that's my TV. Oh, no. You got to leave that here. Yeah. Okay.
No. So
now we
she
know
could
why
watch
he died.
it, but it had to be enlightening or educational. And she couldn't have her magazines. So she couldn't read.
Yeah, she couldn't read the classifieds.
Classifieds anymore.
You're taking away the two things that, make this woman tick.
She's obsessed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was like,
she's packing her TVs to murders. And she's packing her TVs to go to like burn down houses and stuff. You think you're gonna get her off the TV kick? It ain't gonna happen, dude. You're eating prunes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
When does he die?
Not yet.
Okay.
So Nanny left him for a short period in protest.
Okay.
She went back home to Alabama.
Uh-huh.
All right. Samuel begged her to return, but she didn't until he vowed to loosen his hold on his money.
Mm-hmm.
And he took out 2 life insurance policies with her, the beneficiary.
Okay.
Okay.
Great choice.
He did all that so she could come home.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So red flag, guys.
Yes.
If you meet a girl on Craigslist and she leaves you because she won't stop watching TV, and she will only come back if you take 2 life insurance policies out on yourself, maybe just let her stay in Alabama.
Yeah.
That's
leave her there.
If she's from Alabama, just let her stay there.
Well, that's not always true. That's not fair. We're not going to use that stereotype.
Sorry. I actually like Alabama a lot, but,
No, you don't.
I do.
Okay.
I love Alabama.
Okay. All right. So a few short months later,
Yeah.
in September 1953, Nanny served Samuel.
Let's go. What do you have?
Well, she got a little fancier.
Yeah.
A homemade prune cake.
Gosh. This woman's the reason we don't eat prunes anymore. Like, the story got out, and they're like, stop eating prunes. They're bad for you. Look at all the people.
Laced.
Look at all the people that have died from eating prunes. It's just one woman. It's like
Everybody was scared. They were scared to eat them after that.
It's like you get a thing where it's like, recall on these items because it's got salmonella, and it's just one woman killing people.
Pretty much.
Oh, prune cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Within 24 hours, he began to experience a burning stomach pain. He was hospitalized for several weeks and then recovered enough to return home. So he's still alive.
That's great news. What you do? Celebrate by giving him prunes?
Upon his...
No. All right, give it to me. Oh, give it to me. Come on.
I can get through this. Upon his return, Nanny treated him to a nice meal.
What was in the meal? What was in the meal, Caitlin?
coffee.
And?
He just says with coffee as an appetizer.
Okay.
So she gave him some coffee while she's getting the meal ready. We don't know what was in the meal, but we know
Prunes.
we know what was in the coffee, though.
Yeah.
Samuel died a few...
You're falling apart, aren't you?
This is falling apart. Samuel died a few hours later.
Of course he did.
I should not be laughing this much.
I mean, this is all right. So the reason I'm making so many jokes and the way you're laughing so much is because of how absolutely ridiculous this is. Because you read this on paper and it's like, she met a guy, she killed a guy. She met a guy, she killed a guy. She met a baby, she killed the baby. She met a baby, she killed a baby. And it's just like,
it's insanity.
On paper, it's insane the amount of destruction this woman has caused.
Right, and nobody is like,
and nobody's throwing up anything. They're just going like, her own daughter saw her stab the baby.
Right,
and it was like,
told other family members, and they were like,
it was just drugs.
Cool.
It's insane to me, and I mean, I get it. Different times, different forensics, different things kind of happening. Nowadays, like, you do anything questionable, the police are just on you. They're like,
yeah,
why'd you pause answering that one question?
Right.
And then you're like, and you get all flustered about it. And then they go, why are you all flustered? You're like, did you ask me questions? And it gets scary. But back then it was like, you just had to move.
Yeah, and every death so far, they're like, that's believable.
That's the thing, is that there was no tracking, no nothing. So it's like, like back in the day, you could kill someone.
Yeah.
You could literally stab someone to death. They go, oh, I saw Caitlin kill that person. And go, let's go to her house. And they go to your house and they go, she's not home.
Oh, well.
And then they watch your house for a week and they go, and then the neighbor comes over and goes, yeah, she packed up all of her stuff and moved. Where'd she move to? She didn't say.
But she took her television.
Okay, well, cold case. We'll never catch that one because she moved.
Yeah.
Like, that's
how these times were. Yeah.
It's insane that all you had to do was just move to another state and not tell anybody. And they're like, okay, well, we'll never solve that case again.
Right.
And I mean, I get it. It's different times. And that's kind of why I'm kind of making light of it, because the timeline as it follows is prunes, coffee, TV, death.
Right.
And it's just, you look at it and it's just a repetitive behavior. Yeah. It's just a repetitive behavior that in today's technology, in today's world, we would have caught this 100% and been like, every time she goes on Craigslist, somebody dies. Every time. Like, look, she clicks and then 2 months later, someone dies.
Yeah.
And it would be caught immediately. You wouldn't get away with this today.
No, absolutely not.
So we're making light of it. We're not making light of death. It's not what's happening.
No.
We're not making fun of anything. It's not a ridiculous story. It's a sad story. It's a sad story that all these people have passed.
Yeah.
And nobody was even thinking like, this lady did it.
Right.
And it's ridiculous to us today, in today's culture and today's forensics and criminology and things like that. It's ridiculous to us. And so that's why I'm kind of making jokes. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Like, I'm not making light of the situation and the deaths and everything. I'm not making light of it. It's just, it's a ridiculous timeline.
Right.
It is in the scope of today's world. So
yeah.
I don't want anybody to get mad at me. If you're mad at me, I'm
me
sorry.
Too. Don't. I don't want to hate comments about my
I'm
laughing.
causing you to laugh, so
I know
it's all on me.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at the story. I'm laughing at you. 100%.
I mean, I'm backtracking a little bit here and all that, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear that I'm not making fun. I'm not poking fun. I'm not trying to be a jerk here and whatever. Like, you did some incredible research here, I gotta say, but the timeline is absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. So.
I told you it was going to be a crazy one.
Let's continue.
All right, we're almost there.
All right.
So the doctor who treated Samuel in the hospital, he suspected foul play, but he had no proof. So the doctor convinced Nanny to allow an autopsy to be performed by telling her that he could save more lives if he could determine Samuel's cause of death.
He's a smooth operator.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely.
But
he was like, something's up here.
Right.
Let me get down to her level and just go, hey, look, wouldn't it be great if you and I wrote a book?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if we could solve, like, maybe this is a new disease that we discovered and you could be in the book and we could share the proceeds. He didn't do any of that, but, like, I'm sure he was an attractive doctor, right?
Mate, he must have been.
I'm recently divorced, you know? And honestly, I'd love to spend some more time with you, but first I want to spend more time with your dead husband. Can we do an autopsy?
Yeah.
I don't know how.
But the fact that, like, he just sold her on that, and she was like, yeah.
Smooth operator, man.
Let's save lives and find out the cause of death, because I have no idea what it is.
It's bad that we don't know the doctor's name.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah. It's probably somewhere out there. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I mean, let's come up with a name for the doctor real quick. Let's make a game of it.
I'm making sure I didn't find it. No, I didn't find it.
Okay, good. So what's the doctor's name? What's the doctor's name? Let's go with a name. Little game. Name game for the doctor. What do you think? Smooth operator. I mean, he suspects
I feel
something.
like I should pull something from Grey's Anatomy right now.
Let's go for it.
Dr. Shepard.
He's guiding her as if sheep, right?
That's not why. No.
But still, it still works.
He's McSteamy.
He's what?
McSteamy.
McSteamy?
Because he's so hot.
That's the first time you've ever made me cringe on this podcast. Congratulations.
You never
All of
heard
my
that
hair,
before?
all of my hair is standing up on end right now because it was like, what?
You're welcome.
I don't know.
I didn't come up with it, obviously.
But I think you did. But
I agree with it, but I didn't come up with it.
But he's a shepherd. He's guiding her towards her own demise. Because I'm
that fit better than I had it in my head.
There you go.
Okay.
But he had to be attractive.
Yeah.
And he's obviously wealthy. He's a doctor. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they do the autopsy.
Okay, great.
And he finds enough arsenic in his body to kill a horse.
Of course.
He alerts the police, and Nanny is arrested. Now,
Good
this
job.
takes place in 1954. So she gets arrested in 1954.
Okay.
Okay?
When did she get released?
She doesn't.
Oh, I was like, the police are like, oh, we don't have enough. Let's let her go. That's fully what I was expecting.
Let's give her some Prince coffee and send her on her way. The detectives had a difficult time getting a confession out of Nanny because she was too enthralled with a romantic. This is a part where I'm not sure if it was a true typo because I could not find the answer, and I didn't take a lot of time to find it, but I couldn't find it. But a couple of the articles said Romantic Hearts magazine, and the other one said Romantic Heats, but with 2 T's. So again, not very.
I'm gonna
important.
go Hearts.
Okay, let's go Hearts.
Romantic Heat sounds a little.
Yeah, it's just
hot
odd
for the
that there
50s.
were like a couple that said Heats and a couple that said Hearts, but either way. So she was obsessed with her magazine and didn't really want to talk to them, basically. She was trying to read
She's
the
reading
magazine.
the magazine, and the detectives are like,
they're like, we need answers. She's
we
like,
need to
"Hold
talk to you.
on."
And he's like, hold on. 10 ways to lose belly fat.
I found husband number 6. Y'all just hold on 1 second. After hours in the interrogation room, she confessed only to killing Samuel, her last husband.
Yeah.
That's the only one she confessed to at this time.
Right.
After convincing the police to return her magazine, she confessed to killing 4 of her husbands, her sister Debbie, her grandson Robert, and Arlie's mother.
And all it took was taking her magazine away.
Yeah, and giving it back, and then she
And going,
confessed.
you know what? You can't have this right now. What if I give you more information? Yeah. Well, I killed 7 more people. Here's your magazine. Like, golly, this woman is off the rocker. Like, it's like,
Now, this is an interesting part.
She's obsessive. That's what she is obsessive.
Yeah. So this is an interesting part, though, because, again, and I think we should share the sources that I pulled this information from.
I think so, 100%.
But because I would say 2 or 3 maybe out of the 5 said that she did not confess to any family members. But the other, I think it was 2. So I think 3 out of the 5 said that she did confess. And I pulled this line directly from one of the articles.
Right.
So, again,
it's questionable.
Yeah, it's questionable.
Yeah.
But I put it in here because I think that she did confess to them.
I mean, it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So once she got her magazine, she was like, I'll tell you everything. So that's why I say I would lean more towards her confessing to all of these than not.
Do you have all the sources and everything?
Yeah, I have them right here.
Okay, great.
Them.
Awesome. Yeah. So we will list those in the description.
Yeah.
Just so you guys can read through them. And
like I said, we are not professionals, so I don't know how credible, but that's why I use multiple to try and get you guys the best story I could.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We're almost done here.
Okay.
While Nanny spent time in jail awaiting her trial, the bodies of 8 of her victims were exhumed. Autopsies revealed arsenic or rat poisoning in the remains of her deceased husbands and her mother.
Jeez.
The rest showed signs of being smothered. She was taken to trial only for the death of Samuel, again, who was her last husband. Throughout the trial, she was often seen laughing or giggling, giving her the name the Giggling Granny.
That's creepy, man.
She tried to blame the murders on her brain injury. After being declared sane by 4 psychiatrists, Nanny pleaded guilty to the murder on May 17, 1955. She stated that her motive was not the insurance money. Instead, and I quote, "I was searching for the perfect mate and the real romance in life." Nanny was sentenced to life in prison and died of leukemia in 1965.
In prison?
Yes.
Good.
Yep, she was never released. She was sentenced to life and died 10 years later.
Too bad she didn't get the shank. Yeah, the shank would have been more fitting. You killed that many people, especially loved ones and babies, children,
right?
Random dudes on magazines. Like, it's insanity that it took that long. I mean, that long for her to get caught. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so she, she pleaded guilty in 1955. All of this started in 1927. The death started in 1927.
God, that's prolific.
Yeah.
We talk about prolific serial killers.
Yes.
Like, that name should be on the list. 100%. It should be on the list. I mean, it's insane that she was allowed to go as long as she did.
Yeah.
The cops got lucky that doctor was like, something's questionable here.
Right. Absolutely.
This guy smells like almonds, you know? You know that, right?
What?
I think it's arsenic. I may be wrong about this. But if something smells really strongly of almonds,
I didn't know that.
it's a poison.
Huh.
Yeah. That's how they identify it.
Interesting.
Yeah, initially. Now they identify it with, toxicology and stuff like that. But back in the day, this guy smells like almond. He was poisoned.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I just want to say I did not want to go back through each one, but as I was reading these, and you guys are welcome to do this through the sources as well, but a lot of times she did use the rat poisoning. She did use the rat poisoning more to, I think, the very end. So Samuel and maybe the husband before him, she used the arsenic, but all the other ones she used rat poisoning.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was probably, I mean, obviously, like, they probably already had it in the house, or who knows.
Yeah. You took us on a little bit of a roller coaster this week.
I told you. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. But you did good work.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I diminished it by making jokes.
I'm sorry I laughed so much at your jokes.
Huh?
Throughout this horrible
terrible
case.
Yeah, terrible.
But once I got into it, I was like, this is the one. This is the crazy.
One,
yeah. I was surprised. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah. I mean, I've never heard of that one either. So, interesting. And good topic this week.
Yeah, thank you.
You did good.
Thanks.
Really good.
But if you guys do have any of those holes that that we're kind of want more information on, please let us know.
If you have any of those holes that we want to fill, just let us know.
Okay. There it is. There hasn't been one of those in a while.
I know. It's just, I'm trying to clean up my act a little bit. But, still, when it comes right down to it, if you have any of the information that, you'd like to fill us in on, or if you want some of our information that we've got, you can always reach out to us on socials.
On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Let's Catch Up JK.
Don't forget about our Gmail.
Let's Catch Up JK at gmail.com.
And once again, I want to thank you guys for catching up with us. And I want to thank you for catching up with me.
Thank you for catching up with me.
And don't forget to always eat your prunes.
And drink your coffee.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Kay.
Goodbye.